Welcome back to the Geopolitical Compass. Today, with my insightful co-host Zara, we're navigating the turbulent waters of global power dynamics.
Hey everyone.
Our focus? Europe's quest for greater independence, a topic brimming with historical baggage, technological challenges, and some seriously intriguing ethical questions. Let's dive in. Zara, John from Edinburgh called Matthew Wright on LBC, which is a fantastic podcast everyone should follow, brought up a crucial point: the need to ground our understanding of geopolitics in facts, not conjecture. He particularly emphasized how Donald Trump's transactional approach to politics has really shaken things up globally.
Absolutely. It's tempting to get swept up in speculation, but solid analysis needs a foundation of verifiable information. Trump's deal-making style, prioritizing immediate gains over long-term alliances, has definitely left its mark.
And it's not just speculation. The widespread global support for Ukraine across so many nations speaks volumes. It highlights a shared commitment to international law and territorial sovereignty, a direct counterpoint to,
Exactly. The facts on the ground, the actions of global leaders, they paint a clear picture. It's a powerful reminder that despite the complexities, there are some fundamental principles many nations still uphold.
So Zara, shifting gears a bit, John also touched on something I've been pondering: Europe's reliance on those massive American tech giants. Amazon, Facebook, the whole WhatsApp empire. It's like they've woven themselves into the fabric of European life.
It's true, Kai. Europe has become deeply integrated into these American platforms, and it raises some serious questions about digital sovereignty. Where does the data go? Who controls the flow of information? These aren't just technical questions. They have huge geopolitical implications.
Exactly. And John suggested something pretty radical: creating European alternatives, building their own platforms, controlling their own digital space. It sounds daunting, but could it actually work?
It's a massive undertaking, no doubt. But think about the potential benefits, Kai. Boosting local economies, creating jobs, fostering innovation within Europe, and reducing reliance on US-based corporations. It's a bold vision, but not entirely unrealistic. There's talent and resources within Europe. It's a question of mobilizing them effectively.
This dependence on US tech, it makes me think about the broader historical context of the US-European relationship. John mentioned something about Stockholm Syndrome, which seems like a pretty strong comparison.
It's a provocative analogy, Kai, but there's a certain truth to it. Think about it. Europe relied heavily on the US during both world wars, and that created a sense of dependence, almost a sense of inferiority. Like Europe felt it couldn't stand on its own 2 feet, needed the US for protection and support.
And even though Europe has rebuilt itself, become a major economic power, that feeling of needing the US lingers?
Exactly. It's like a psychological residue, a sense of being beholden to the US, even though Europe is perfectly capable of charting its own course. This feeling can make it difficult for Europe to assert its independence, even when it's in its best interest to do so. It's a complex dynamic.
So, moving on from this historical dependency, John also made a really interesting point about who's really disrupting the world order. He seemed to think Trump, not Putin, is the bigger threat.
That's a bold statement. It's easy to point fingers at Putin, especially given the war in Ukraine. But John's argument is that Trump's disruption is more insidious, aimed at undermining democratic institutions and international cooperation, the very foundations of the global order. And that destabilization creates a vacuum that someone like Putin can exploit.
That makes sense. If the established powers are weakened, it opens the door for others to step in. So if Trump is this major disruptor, what can Europe do about it? John suggested focusing on non-military strategies, right?
Precisely. Direct confrontation isn't always the best approach. John suggested focusing on economic and technological strategies, strengthening European economies, investing in research and development, creating alternatives to American tech dominance. These are ways to counter Trump's influence without resorting to military force.
So building a more robust and independent Europe, basically.
Exactly. A Europe that's less reliant on the US, more self-sufficient, and better equipped to navigate the complexities of global geopolitics. It's about creating a stronger foundation from within.
So if Europe were to pursue this path towards greater independence, is there a moral justification for it? Is it the right thing to do?
Absolutely. John argued that it's not just strategically advantageous, but morally imperative. A more autonomous Europe could be a stronger voice for global cooperation, for multilateralism, for addressing issues like climate change and inequality that require collective action. A Europe less tied to the US could pursue policies that benefit the entire planet, not just a select few.
That's a powerful argument. It's not just about Europe, it's about the global good.
Exactly. A more balanced world with multiple centers of power could be a more just and sustainable world. Europe has a responsibility, a moral obligation, to step up and play its part.
So, to wrap up our conversation today, Zara, what are some of the key takeaways our listeners should remember?
I think the biggest one is the importance of critical thinking. We need to question assumptions, challenge narratives, and look at the world with a clear and objective eye. Europe's future, and the world's, depends on it.
Absolutely. And listeners, we want to hear your thoughts. What do you think about European independence? Is it a realistic goal? Is it morally justified? Let us know in the comments below.
And please subscribe and share this podcast with anyone you think might be interested. The more people we can get involved in these conversations, the better.
Join us next time on the Geopolitical Compass, where we'll be diving into, well, we'll keep you in suspense for now.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you.